Well, welcome to the fun and mentals of real estate. I think Glenn has the question of the day.
I do. How do smart investors choose not the right property? We're already there now. How do smart investors choose the right tenant?
The right tenant.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question that we're going to dig in today in our investor series. So if you want to build wealth through real estate, you do need to get educated.
Heck yeah.
All
So
right?
before I'm even going to advertise and look for a tenant, I want to know, how do I protect myself so I get the right tenant?
Okay, so I know you like to rent to friends and family.
No, I don't like to rent to friends and family.
But
I don't like to rent,
just,
period.
I have to, we're going to do the top 10 mistakes people make
Great. Yeah.
when trying to choose a tenant, which means here's the don't, but when we say the don't, you're going to do the opposite to do the do, okay?
Right.
So you're going to get both in here. So number one is, please do not skip the background check.
I think we talked about this earlier,
the credit
too.
check.
Yeah, that might be not only number one on our list, but probably the most important thing. Because this can avoid a lot of problems.
Yeah, because people are very, very nice. They might bring you cupcakes.
They're gonna want to
smile. They're being their best. That's right.
Of course.
And if you're a good person yourself, you really need. What happens is you feel sorry for people.
Empathy,
you
right?
like people,
Yes.
right?
You want to get it rented quickly,
right? Yeah. So don't make the mistake of just liking someone or thinking they look good on the surface.
And I think the internet and the technology has made that a lot easier. I remember years back, people would call me, "Hey, Glenn, I got this rental property. Can you run a credit report on it?" I'm like, "No, I can't run a credit report on it."
Yeah, and this is so much more than credit.
Right. Oh,
Is
that's a
it
good
credit?
point.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also a background check. We want to make sure that no other landlord has been after them,
Right.
evicted them, sued them, right? Another thing is just criminal background check, right? So you want to do the criminal background check
So I
to
think
make
there's
sure
one
that
that
they're
you
not
use.
in that.
What is the one that you recommend that you use?
I use TransUnion.
Okay.
There are services out here to help you do this. What's really great about them is they do the criminal, they do the landlord and the eviction of it, and they make a recommendation sometimes whether you should rent to them or not.
That's awesome.
But and if I have questions about the credit, I'll call you and ask you, I'm like, what does this mean? Or hey, this is the income to debt ratio. What do you think? Where you can consult somebody like Glenn, who's a lender, because if they're lender worthy, right, enough to buy a home, they're probably going to pass the
100%,
rental sniff test, right? And so the background check, I use TransUnion. There's other ones that you can use. There's Rent Prep, Turbo Tenant.
And there's going to be a fee for this, but typically you're going to charge that applicant a fee.
The applicant, actually, you send them a link.
Right.
They just get on the link. They pay for it.
Right.
Before they apply. They fill out the application online. And then it sends you all this information, and it does it immediately.
Just think, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that wasn't available. That's a great tool.
It is.
And a reason why is, number one, not to skip that background check. And it's not that you don't want to be nice, not that you don't want to be helpful. This is an investment, and this is a business. You have to look at it like that.
You need to get your mind right. One of the books I'm going to recommend here is Managing Rental Properties. And this one is by the Turners, Heather and Brandon Turner.
Is that the one with the forms in the back?
Yeah, it has forms in the
great.
back, a link to the forms that you can get emailed to you. So there's a lot of great resources like this that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Realtor.com has one, Zillow has one. You have to be careful though. If you're going to use like a Zillow Rent Manager background check and stuff, they have the tenant's name. They can market to them.
Yeah. TransUnion doesn't do that.
TransUnion doesn't do that, and it's one of the reasons I chose them. But there are also some of these, when you use them for the background check,
They sell the information?
Well, what I'm saying is the tenant can also pay. They also have systems where the tenant can pay through their services.
Right.
And they can use credit cards and stuff.
That's nice.
Which I wouldn't.
So much easier than it used to be.
So much easier than it used to. So don't skip the background check. Don't skip the credit check. And number two is don't ignore the red flags.
Just like dating. Look at this.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
What kind of red flags would we be looking for?
Inconsistencies.
Okay.
Right? And so if you're seeing inconsistencies in the paycheck stubs or in the work history, right? So when you look at their work history or you look at credit cards opening and closing all the time.
Is that going to come through in the background check you do with
Yeah,
TransUnion?
yeah, the credit cards when they're open, when they're
So
closed.
do you use that background
what
check, step
balance.
one, you use that as your application, or is there a separate application you fill out and then you have them do that?
I have them use that as an
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
application,
it covers
and then
two
I
things.
ask more questions after I see it.
And that's where you'd be looking for these red flags.
Right. So just like when we said, hey, you need a model for finding the right property, you also need a model for choosing a model, a system, criteria for choosing the right tenant.
Right.
And one of the things I found that really great about reading a book like this, Managing Rental Properties, is that it gets your head on straight. This is not a charity.
Right. It's a business.
It's a
And
business.
you can lose a lot of money.
If you're just in it for a tax write-off and you don't care, you want to lose as much money as possible,
No.
do whatever you want. It doesn't really care. And some people are in it for that, right? But if you actually want to turn a profit, these are really important things to, to think about and make sure that you are not doing these silly things like ignoring these steps. Okay, number 3, not checking past landlords.
So does the TransUnion one isn't going to check the past landlord? You got to do that on your own?
It's gonna see if there's any action by a past landlord.
Right, so if there's
legal
an eviction
action
or a judgment or a collection, right?
Right. And
but
so
what you're going to want to do is get a name and a phone number of their previous landlord, and you're going to want to call them. Right.
absolutely, and
Just like a reference,
I do
right?
call the past landlords, and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Because the landlords will tell you a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. I worry because like with work you can't because you don't want to get sued. But I guess with a landlord you can just call them and they're
Yeah,
gonna
let's
let you know.
just say you have a no pet policy,
Right.
and they say, hey, I don't have a pet. If you call the past landlord, you can ask them, have they ever had a pet?
Okay.
Oh yeah, their dog just died. Oh, well, then they might be getting another dog on you. So and if you have a no pet policy, then that's just something that you need to ask and play 20 questions with the landlord. Super important.
The main thing
And
you're
really
looking for
helpful.
is did they pay the rent on time?
Did they pay the rent on time? Did they fix things? Did they destroy the house?
Oh yeah.
How did they leave
leave
it?
a bunch of trash? Yeah.
All that sort of thing. Were they always a problem? Were they always calling you for repairs? Right? Can they change a light bulb by themselves? Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. All
Right?
right. So now we want to talk about number 4, clear rental criteria.
Yeah. So one of the mistakes is not having clear rental criteria. So you do have a discrimination problem, right?
Yes,
And so
you gotta be
you
careful.
need this
Right.
rental criteria not only for your business and for yourself to be profitable, but you also need it to keep you out of trouble.
Yes.
Which is number 5, discriminating without realizing it. And so the rental
Kind of go together, don't they?
They kind of go together.
Because the tenants
yeah.
do have rights.
Sure,
You can't say
absolutely.
it's my property, I can do whatever I want. When they sign a lease and they're occupying your property, that's their primary residence, and they are protected legally.
Yeah, so
So I'm gonna
clear rental criteria.
right. You got to make this decision quickly, though. So
Not
to me,
necessarily.
the first 4 we talked about seems like it could take 3 or 4 months.
No.
I'm exaggerating.
That stuff's just done, and that can
Right.
be done in a day if you wanted it to, or depending on if you can get a hold of the past landlord, right?
So you want to know? Because in my business, we're looking at debt to income ratios. We're looking at
I'm still looking at
all
that.
their bills. We're looking at they make
Looking
this
at
much this much amount. They have a car payment. They have this. They have that. So you're looking at
Right.
all
I'm
that.
looking at tax liens. I'm looking at everything. Everything that you look at for a home loan, I'm looking at for a tenant.
So I've never owned rental property before. This is my first one. How do I judge that? How do I know?
Well, one of the things on the rental criteria is how soon are you going to decide?
Yeah. Well, the sooner the better. The clock is ticking. I didn't pay
Well,
cash.
I realize it's the clock's ticking, but at the same time, I think one area that can help keep you from discriminating is that just because somebody made a rental app doesn't mean you have to make a decision.
Okay.
I can say I'm taking rental apps for the next 2-3 weeks or 30 days, whatever it is I want, and collect as many as I can to help meet my rental criteria, which is going to be the debt to income ratio, the credit score, and whether they've got late or past dues or an account that's closed out that's still at a balance. I mean, one of the gals I had, she really wanted to rent the place, and I ran her credit. I'm like, hey, do you know you have an outstanding late, not only late, but closed account that still has money due. Do you know this is on your credit? Is this true? Have you called them? No response, no response. Week later, she's like, hey, yeah, can I rent a place? I'm like, did you see that you have this on your credit, right? And so it's nothing to do with any other things that people can potentially discriminate against. It has just to do with your financial ability to pay.
Now, in my business, we do very similar in the lending business, but we have to let everybody know. We have to make a decision in 30 days. We have to let them know that we're not going to make that loan. We have
Sure.
To, do you have to let everybody know who filled out an application that you didn't choose them?
I do. I mean, I go back and say, hey, we've chosen a tenant that's, that it's rented out, because you don't want to discriminate without realizing it.